Every time there is a discussion about space or anything related to space, two moguls are always on the front page. Elon Musk and Jeff Bezos have been named rocket rivals for a reason. They are always battling it out to outdo each other in the race to space. Announcing a new rocket design, testing short space trips, or simply fighting words on Twitter may be a way to do so. But recently, something brought them together. Are SpaceX and Blue Origin at last laying down their swords and joining hands? Want to know more about it? Well, stay tuned till the video. Welcome to Bezos Space. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel and press the bell icon to never miss an update on Amazon, Blue Origin, or anything related to the talented, influential tech icon and billionaire Jeff Bezos. In this video, we are going to find out what this project is and how it could bring the two rivals together. So stay with us until the end of the video. Also, before we start the video, don't forget to hit subscribe to our channel and ring the bell icon for more amazing videos. And let's get started. One of the world's richest men and one of its sharpest brains will help get the first woman and the next man onto the moon. Jeff Bezos' Blue Origin and Elon Musk's SpaceX are among the 13 companies selected by the National Aeronautics and Space Agency, and they're not charging a penny. NASA's mission to the moon, Artemis, is expected to take off in 2024. The Artemis space missions are focused on lunar exploration, but NASA's long-term goals are even more ambitious. Using the capabilities, technology, and research developed during the Artemis space flights and landings, NASA intends to launch a future crewed mission to Mars. This ambitious NASA Moon to Mars plan involves building a new space station in lunar orbit and eventually a habitable moon base. NASA is not simply aiming to repeat the feats of the Apollo missions with Artemis, but rather to go to the moon and stay there. That means investigating the possibility of establishing bases both in lunar orbit and on the moon's surface. Although the primary goal for now still involves returning humans to the moon by 2024. This will be the first time since 1976 that the US is attempting to land humans on the lunar surface. The firms roped in to help out will partner with various NASA centers around the US to not only help build the software and hardware required for the mission, but also provide their expertise and tools at no cost. This is also the first time that NASA will use its 212-foot-tall core rocket stage, the tallest rocket stage it has ever built. It will support the 8.8 million pounds of thrust required to get the Orion spacecraft, built specifically for Artemis, off the ground. The Space Launch System rocket is the only one that can send Orion, astronauts, and the supplies they need to the moon on a single mission. Tying together all these elements is the launcher that will carry them beyond Earth's atmosphere and into space. This super heavy lift rocket can carry almost 180,000 kilograms and will cost over $800 million per launch. When complete, the SLS will be the most powerful rocket in the world, rivaling the original Saturn V launcher that first took astronauts to the moon. Its flexible and evolvable design will allow the rocket to carry out robotic scientific missions on the moon, Mars, Saturn, and Jupiter. Its green run test at NASA's Stennis Space Center can be broken into two parts. Green refers to the new hardware that's being implemented to power the launch, and run refers to all the systems working together in sync for the first time. The rocket will be launched from the NASA's Kennedy Space Center in Florida for its first Artemis I lunar mission. The total funding required for the SLS program is approximately $22.6 billion. Musk's SpaceX is going to help NASA build its rockets. Rockets, sometimes referred to as launch vehicles, are the first step to sending anything to space. For Artemis, SpaceX will help NASA take its technology to the next level so that they can vertically land large rockets on the moon. It includes figuring out how the engine's plume is going to interact with the lunar surface. In order to keep the ship going, SpaceX is also going to help NASA figure out how to refuel in space. There are a lot of advantages to doing this, but the primary benefit is the effect on the efficiency of the spacecraft. Having the ability to refuel in orbit means that Starship, NASA's spacecraft, will have more fuel to conduct maneuvers and have greater range for future missions. Bezos' Blue Origin will be working at NASA's Johnson Space Center to build a navigation and guidance system to help NASA's lunar module land on the moon. The technology is integral to ensure that the lander can precisely assess the landing site, to make sure it's safe and attempt the descent with accuracy. Blue Origin will also help out with the lander itself. The company, in collaboration with Glenn and Johnson, will devise a fuel cell power system for the Blue Moon lander so that it has enough to survive lunar nights when there is no solar power draw on. These lunar nights are particularly dangerous since they can last for over 2 weeks and temperatures drop to below 270 degrees Celsius. Bezos' space company is also going to partner with Marshall and Langley to assess the high-temperature materials needed for liquid rocket engine nozzles that will be equipped on the lunar landers. While the journey to the moon takes 3 days, reaching Mars is a far lengthier and more complicated goal. NASA sees Artemis as laying the foundation for both international space agencies and private companies to build a lunar settlement and economy, and from there eventually send humans to Mars. The success of the mission will determine whether or not the U.S. Apex Space Agency will send the first ever humans to Mars. Other companies on the roster include Aerogel Technologies, Anisphere, Lockheed Martin, Spirit Aerosystem, Maxar Technologies, Bally Ribbons Mills, Colorado Power Electronics, and Aerojet Rocketdyne. U.S. President Donald Trump has requested a significant boost in NASA budgets in order to fund the Artemis missions. The new 2021 proposed budget is $25.2 billion, an increase of 12% on the existing plan. If agreed to, it will be the biggest funding boost for NASA in decades, with $12.3 billion set to be spent on the Artemis missions. However, the budget requires approval from Congress before it can be confirmed. The third mission to the moon is set to be the first moon landing since Apollo 17 in 1972, and aims to put the first woman astronaut on the moon. Building on the Artemis II mission, 4 astronauts aboard the Orion module will dock with the Lunar Gateway and remain in space for 30 days. The human landing system will then take 2 astronauts down to the moon's south pole, a region previously unvisited by humans. The astronauts are expected to spend a week exploring the surface and perform a variety of scientific studies, including sampling water ice, first detected on the moon in 1971. NASA are currently focusing their attention on Artemis missions 1 to 3. If these prove successful, NASA has ambitions for further crewed missions on an annual basis through to 2030. One expectation is for future astronauts to begin establishing a base on the surface of the moon, with a view to eventually using the satellite as a staging point on the journey to Mars. NASA has set tight time constraints in reaching the moon by 2024, and so the challenges are steep. In January 2020, NASA faced budgetary disputes in U.S. Congress that may see the date of a lunar landing postponed to 2028. Money isn't the only difficulty to the lunar program. Several of the private companies tasked with designing and manufacturing the crew-carrying spacecraft are facing technological delays, and the U.S. government has identified schedule problems and cost overruns with the SLS rocket development. However, NASA is currently still aiming for the 2024 deadline. The National Aeronautics and Space Administration is going to be testing the first 8 minutes of the Artemis launch sequence to make sure that all goes according to plan on D-Day. Jim Bridenstine, NASA's administrator, tweeted that it's important to find issues with the launch vehicle earlier rather than later. This brings us to the end of our video. What are your thoughts on today's video? Do you think this rivalry between the 2 most influential CEOs will end? Share with us in the comments below. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, leave us a like and subscribe to our channel. See you in the next one. Until then, peace.